If you're able to leave already.
Right.
That's the Charles, we got you downstairs. I'm not on YouTube, you get over a billion. I know. I think somebody got you. Oh, my back.
Yeah, I think they finally got it.
Send me a.
Hey, hey, I mean, it's works comp.
Oh, ball didn't fall, did.
I just do you like Victor does. Nope.
Nope. I didn't say it.
Nope. Nope. How you been, man?
Be laying low, man. Try to stay out of the way.
Yeah, coming end of the year. I got a bottle of the 04 Shiraz, the green label, the single barrel. What's that? I look back at it, it's over 100. Yeah, yeah, but it's good.
Don't see it.
That's good.
I can use one right now. Take one right now. Talk some more smoke. Smoke a cigar until you laugh. It's gonna be good.
That's the only way to tell them.
Right. Better than the past, do
Me too.
Except Friday afternoon, you ready to go to some street. They ain't gonna risk it. It's just gonna rain. Question, where is it? Circle. At least if you got I got my snow shovel ready. The thing is, I don't know. My marriage, he stepped in front of Amtrak in Chicago. And,
But a lot of them, they did like 20 years ago.
I popped up in Chicago, ended up working for him. Show. Pretty rough. But perfect for a snow shovel.
But you didn't like it going down.
You know how it is, and maintenance, you gotta have the right tool for the job.
I'm just wondering if you can fix it. I agree. And people that do that, you don't get it. So, extra money, so it's not like. And my God. And you got. But I think when you sit over the dollars, card, you have it in your hand. You just made money with no pay. You don't have it. And they don't put their dick. I see somebody older, you know, add something on somebody's bill from a date to pay that thing. And rather than just dedicate it, you gonna lay it down, discuss it together, you don't like it, go it out.
Mr. Coy,
They used to be a little house, corner, don't get.
what'd you get?
It's company. I hope they got plenty of money. They want to put
And that's when we found out they had a before at one time.
So there are already leases on all the towers. Probably information what they are, but I don't know if we'll discuss it. Like Verizon, USL, have exclusive leases. Okay, we should, might have to work through the clerk, if Brittany doesn't have it. Because of his asset, I don't really, and it's not like a property lease, you don't. Probably has a lease, he may have access. But the real question is, can we add any more traffic to the towers and the current leases? Who is it?
And how you feel this year. I want to say waves, so there was supposed to send me an email. I hadn't got it yet, so it might not now come out.
Put it on top of the building, so the tower, city hall, on his place on top of city hall, they want to pay you.
It's not, it's, I don't think it's in the city limits, it's like, Whitaker, something.
We get together and talk about it.
I see if they follow up with it, they don't follow up with it.
But I think some of those leases are paying him several $1,000s a month for access to the tower. And it's been a long time since I looked at it.
I'll let you know when I find out.
Doc? Track stars. Something about track star or something. Oh, really? Dude, my boy played some of these Rocky Mountain teams. Purple Classic. Baseball tournament over there in Eastern Lake. They got a team on he's a freshman. Oh, okay. He's playing varsity. Yeah.
I was.
They're varsity. They're varsity too.
His little buddy got kicked off the basketball team because they were on the he don't have anything to do with it, my son. His little buddy Cooper wide open, dude.
Well, son, there's constant.
Do what you want. Yeah, thank you.
It's fine.
Yeah, man, they played Rocky Mount Senior High. They beat them. And then Southwest Edgecombe almost beat them. They lost momentum. And then Faith Christian killed them.
Southwest is going to be major to our mates. Faith didn't even form that thing. I forgot.
Some team from somewhere
From
else.
way out west.
Yeah. Because he fell in the. He was manipulated for the because how do that have anybody in the conference is what it was. So they got this. So I think what'll happen is they'll probably go to the championship or they'll win their division championship. They'll probably win the first game. And then it's probably when they play somebody
My God, this is. You got invited to play travel. How we might practice with the son.
where do you gotta go for that?
We're going.
Hello? Yeah, and they got the 5A annual track and field high jump. Track and field. There's another track and field. Basketball.
Okay.
I guess they recognize it like what individual. Because you go to state individually, right? I don't know. It's been years since I've looked at that. Is it? Yeah, I guess you're right. They just lost the agenda.
This is
Tanika said you want that space. Tanika said you want that space. That space in the block.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll show it to you on the 16th. I think
Right.
it's going to be around 4 o'clock, right?
Right. I gotta go to Muffinsboro to a meeting, and I'm coming back. But we'll be back.
It's the smaller of the spaces. It'll probably be right for what you want.
Oh, yeah, I don't need a whole lot.
I feel like somebody's drop kicking my spine. I didn't do anything. I just stood up and it just tightened up.
Something of it, maybe about 10. And I won't be down there today.
Yeah. What do you could probably do cubes. I mean, it's probably big enough for cubes.
I know, I'm talking about just coming in.
Just meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be perfect for that. It's really one big room with a storage closet.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of.
It probably does need some work. The leases, the way they're structured now, interior upfits on the tenant, but you can do as much as you want to, or as little as you want to.
Think about my boss comes down.
And
They're the ones paying for it.
if it's not right for you, you might be able to find some smaller space elsewhere.
Oh, no, well,
I may have some space in the train station come over there.
what's that one on? I hope that's never do for both of them. But not that way. May not be like that now.
Yeah, it may work out.
Yeah, I've been calling people in doing like one-on-one. Might have two, three people. If you want to take some time. Couple minutes. Give them some time. So that'll be all right.
It's been a minute since I've stepped in it. You know, we got so many spaces around, but I remember it as being one big square
But it
space.
is, I talk to people, yeah. And, the attorney, I saw him the weekend, and he said he had used the office.
Yeah.
And there was a attorney.
Yeah. Yeah, they got her dishwasher, she lives above the law office. Her dishwasher faded and it just kept running and it flooded everything. So we had to repair all that and move her into that small space again so she could operate. Doesn't happen often. It's happened.
I call to order the regular scheduled meeting, the city council. This time I'd like to please ask everybody, please stand and observe a moment of silence for prayer. Thank you. This time I'd like to ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Knight.
Here.
Blackwell.
Here.
Robertson.
Here.
TJ Walter.
Here.
Doddridge.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Walter.
Here.
Okay, everybody's in attendance at this time. I would like looking for a motion to approve the minutes of consideration of the minutes of the regular scheduled city council meeting, which was held on February 29th of 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Lawrence Walker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Tom Harris. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Okay, item passes. At this point, is there consideration of any additions or deletions that we need to consider for the change in the agenda tonight? Okay, hearing none. In the absence of our manager for the community update, well, I'll turn it over to him right now. Sorry, we'll move on to presentations we had.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to take a moment to share a few updates related to public safety, community engagement, and the upcoming opportunities across Rocky Mount. First, I want to make the residents aware that a statewide ban on open burning remains in effect. North Carolina Forest Services issued this ban due to increased wildfire risk, ongoing drought conditions, and the potential for limited rainfall. These conditions increase the risk of rapidly spreading fires, and it's important that we all do our part to reduce potential fire hazards. We encourage residents to remain mindful of these restrictions as we work together to help protect our community and surrounding areas. Secondly, I would like to highlight an upcoming Arbor Day celebration scheduled for April 24th at Farmington Park. This event will include participation from the mayor and members of city council, along with a ceremonial tree planting. Arbor Day reflects a longstanding tradition of environmental stewardship, and here in Rocky Mount, that commitment is ongoing since 1991. The city has planted and distributed tens of thousands of trees and seedlings throughout the community. Finally, I'd like to recognize Community Arts Initiative taking place this Saturday, April 18th at the Imperial Center for Arts and Sciences. The Painted Voices of Our Community event brings residents together to create artwork that will become a part of a traveling exhibit. This initiative is made possible through partnerships with Trillium Health Resources, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, UNC School of Medicine, and the Village of Care. That's all I have for this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Manager, do I have any comments or questions for our manager? Okay, hearing none, what we'll do now is we'll move on to presentations and recognitions, number 7. Consideration of the resolution, and I'll read the resolution. Recognizing, congratulating Rocky Mount High School junior Cantrice Davis on winning the North Carolina High School 5A indoor track and field high jump state championship. So with that, I'd like for council to consider the following resolution tonight. And that is whereas Cantrice Davis, a Rocky Mount High School junior, completed for the Rocky Mount, that too. The North Carolina High School Athletic Association 5A indoor track and field high jump state championship in Winston-Salem. And whereas the high jump is a complex track and field event that requires a unique balance between strength, speed, power, technique. And whereas Cantrice entered the championship competition ranked in 6th place. And whereas Cantrice achieved a jump height of 5 feet 2 inches, placing her and 2 other athletes tied for the championship. And whereas due to Cantrice's precise, consistent approach, she was able to achieve her jump height in fewer attempts than the other 2 athletes that jumped that same height, claiming the 5A high jump state championship title. Whereas contributing to Cantrice's success was her coach, Sonia Pickett, and her family members who provide unwavering support. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I and the Rocky Mount City Council hereby congratulate Cantrice Davis on her championship win. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be spread upon the pages of the minutes of this proceeding, and a copy shall be presented to Kendrys Davis in recognition of her significant accomplishment. To be adopted this 13th day of April, 2026. Is there a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, congratulations. Kendrys, please come forward. Okay, I'd like City Council to consider a resolution recognizing and congratulating Northern Dash High School junior Khalik Evans on winning the North Carolina High School 6A indoor track and field 500-meter dash championship. Whereas Khalik Evans, a Rocky Mount High School. We'll be fixing that for you. Whereas Khalik Evans, a Northern Dash High School junior, competed in the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 6A indoor track and field 500-meter dash state championship in Winston-Salem. And whereas the 500-meter dash is considered a highly difficult track and field event that requires a unique balance of speed, timing, and endurance. And whereas Khalik finished the race with a time of 1:04.59, claiming the championship title. And whereas contributing to Khalik's success was his coach, Jacob E. Bullock, and his family who provided unwavering support. Now therefore be it resolved that I, as the mayor of City of Rocky Mount and Rocky Mount City Council hereby congratulate Khalik Evans on his championship win. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be spread upon the pages of the minutes of this proceeding, and a copy shall be presented to Khalik Evans in recognition of his significant accomplishment. To be adopted this 13th day of April 2026. Is there a motion? Motion made by Councilman Knight. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Walker and Councilman Robertson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, congratulations. This time, I'd like to ask council to consider a resolution recognizing and congratulating the Northern Nash High School basketball team on winning the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 6A state championship. Whereas the Northern Nash boys basketball team completed their season 25-3, establishing themselves as a top competitor. And whereas the Knights finished third place in their conference, then went on to have a historic postseason run, entering the finals on a 6-game winning streak. And whereas the top-seeded Knights rallied late in the championship game against Kings Mountain to force overtime, and whereas the Knights scored twice in the final 22 seconds of the 4-minute extra session to capture the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 6A state championship with a hard-fought 61-60 overtime victory over Kings Mountain. And whereas this victory marks the first state basketball championship for Northern Nash varsity boys basketball since 1968. And whereas this championship brings pride not only to the Northern Nash Knights themselves, but to their families, their school, and their community. And whereas there were outstanding individual players on this North Carolina High School Athletic Association state championship team, the success is credited to a total team effort from the following team members: Kingston Little, Jamiri Harris, Christian Barnes, Terrence Sanders, Amir Russell, Omar Porter, Quay Williams, Quante James, Nicholas Tucker, Demaya Odom, Gary Miller, CJ Mercer, Jury Morbitz, Josh Davis, Chris Silver, Jaqueen Arrington, Samarian Bullock, Tristan Battle, Chase Morgan, and Cam Freeman. And whereas also contributing to the team's success was their head coach, Henry Drake, assistant coaches Ashley Davis, Mitchell Wells, Michael Deloach, Darius Spragley, statistician Joel Drake, managers Isaiah Williams, Jamar Shaw, Joseph Richardson, and their school administration, parents, families, and classmates who provided unwavering support. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, as the mayor of City Rocky Mount and the Rocky Mount City Council, hereby congratulate the Northern Nash Knights boys varsity basketball team and its coaches for their outstanding season and state championship. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be spread upon the pages of the minutes of this preceding copy, and a copy shall be presented to each team member, the coaches and staff who were instrumental in the success of their season. To be adopted this 13th day of April of 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Walker. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by everybody. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Scott.
Close to a good amount.
Hey, CJ. I got the point.
I'd like to read the following proclamation from the city of Rocky Mount. Whereas April 2026 marks the 58th anniversary of the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968 and the 43rd anniversary of the State Fair Housing Act of 1983. And whereas the State Fair Housing Act of 1983 and the Federal Fair Housing Act of 1968 and the Rocky Mount Fair Housing Ordinance prohibit discrimination in housing due to race, color, religion, sex, nationality, handicap, or familial status. And whereas all North Carolinians have the right to live in the community of their choice without fear and on the same terms as their neighbors. And whereas the Rocky Mount Human Relations Commission, through coordinated efforts with the North Carolina Human Relations Commission, fair housing organizations, concerned citizens, and the housing industry, promotes broader housing choices in Rocky Mount, understanding the State Fair Housing Act and the Federal Fair Housing Act to encourage integrated communities and/or neighborhoods, and works to ensure accessible housing for the disabled and to eliminate discrimination in housing. Now, therefore, I, as the mayor of the city of Rocky Mount, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Fair Housing Month in the city of Rocky Mount and commend its observance to all citizens. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Rocky Mount, North Carolina to be affixed this 13th day of April of 2026. Item number 8 are petitions to be received from the public. Now, this is an opportunity for public comment, and we thank you for coming to the city council meeting tonight to share your views. We value all citizen input. Speaker comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes during the public comment period. And at the conclusion of 3 minutes, each speaker shall leave the podium. Comments must be directed to the full board, not to an individual board member or staff member. Although the board is interested in your comments, speakers should not expect any comments, action, or deliberation from the board on any issue raised during the public comment period. At the board's discretion, it may refer issues to the appropriate city officials or staff for further investigation. If an organized group is present to speak on a common issue, please designate one person to present the group's comments, which shall be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. For this time, I'd like to invite Robert E. Cordell to the podium.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Bill Robertson,
Yes, sir.
council, and the rest of the platform and personnel. First of all, I'd like to apologize to an individual that's looking at me right now. I quoted, last month, I quoted his salary. I said it was $640,000 was incorrect. Okay, it was 400 and, no, 240,000. So, it was my mistake, and, sincerely apologize. And just like, Reverend Jackson said, charge to my head, not to my heart. Last month, there were 3 comments, at the very end, I was, did not have an opportunity to make it, and, tried to make it, now. Okay. Could you all, in the effort to save money, to do a Robert Davis thing? You know, he's the, former, the chairman of the Nash County Commission, and he would take his people down to Raleigh at any time to his people, and they ask for money, and they will get monies, fund for any projects at any time. Been doing that for years. I feel like that we could possibly do the same thing if you had the heart to do that. I serve on the Nash County Planning and Zoning Board, and I have privy to some few things. Nash County has a budget of $15 billion. Why can we tap in to some of that money? Why not? Some of that money is our money. We pay taxes in Nash County, property taxes, tax on our cars. Why can't we get with them? And since we are in dire straits, and we are, why can't we tap into some of that? Now, the previous city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Cordell. I'd like to invite Sean Reed to the podium. This is related to internet cafes, just to.
Yes, sure.
Would you rather wait till the public hearing component of that, or would you like to register it now?
I'm sorry.
We have a public hearing on that particular matter.
Okay,
Later in the
when is that
meeting.
public hearing?
It's right after the consent agenda, I believe, right? Yeah. Item 10B, is that right? Yeah, item 10D.
Until okay. I can wait, or you can hear me for 3 minutes, and then I can still do that, whatever you want. If you just want a little background on,
Well, why don't you just use your 3 minutes here? We'll make sure we push it over there. How about that?
that sounds
Right
great.
here and we'll just make it happen.
Yes, sir, got it. My name is Sean Rim. I am the co-owner of To Be or Not To Be Marketing. DBA is Miss Lady Gamble, Miss Lady Vegas. We are an online social casino. We currently operate in the United States. We do have a partnership with WePlay, AE Gaming, and Sweet Kings in Europe. We have a multi-gaming license as well. We've been operating in the space since 2020. We've done every version of online gaming, from slots to live dealer to sports betting to fish table games, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My proposal was to not talk you guys into permitting it. That's not what I wanted. If you were going to permit it, my proposal was there is a more professional and a more symbiotic relationship between the city and the operator. I do believe with the proximity of I-95, okay, that Rocky Mount can be with a properly functioning game room focused towards hospitality and service. I've been in the hospitality and service industry. I've been a general contractor. I heard you guys talking of the speaker before about COs, so I know all about that. I had a commercial contractor's license, and I've been on online gaming space. So I do, and marketing. So that's what we are. We're a marketing company. I do believe that Rocky Mount can be geared towards a quasi tourist destination for this kind of gaming. I see that you're an attorney, Mr. Sir, and we work with an attorney in Raleigh, Keith Anthony, so we'll be very close. He does a lot of our gaming, has written our 50-state opinion letter along with Alan Wilmot out of Florida. So that's really my proposal. If you choose to permit it, that's what my proposal was, that it would be more professionally done and would work in conjunction with the city. The city could also become a lot of states, what they do with particularly in sports betting and lottery is they have a approved software that they use for sports betting and lottery. No one, to my knowledge, has done this for live dealer or slots. I've already spoke to a couple of my gaming partners to where the city could become subcontractors or sub-dealers for that software, where you would also benefit economically from that as well. So that is my proposal, and I will end it there.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Thank you.
I'll pass your information along to our city manager for the follow-up.
Okay.
But this time I'd like to invite Butch and Dancy to the podium.
Good evening. We didn't really have much to say tonight. I just wanna, thank y'all for, the presentation at the LGC. Thought y'all handled it real well. I had no doubt that the verdict would be what it is. If people had been paying attention, they would have known what the verdict would have been too. I want to thank the city manager and staff and the finance director and all for all you're doing and all that you continue to do. I just hope people will stop the noise and give you the opportunity to do your job. Because it's plain and clear, if you don't, then LTC will take over. So I don't know why the people want to run it from the street. They need to be trying to find a way to help this situation instead of fighting you. Yeah, I don't live in Rocky Mountain. Been working with for 39 years. Got more family over here than some of y'all probably got. Friends, enemies, it don't matter. Remember a long time ago, whatever you do, you can't separate it. Everybody benefit. Life fully paid member NAACP and others who just took on another position. I'm gonna fight for the least of them. Because a lot of people won't come up here and fight simply because of the retaliation. Just like the disrespect that you get, y'all guys get. But they don't want the disrespect when y'all return it. Y'all good. Cause I do it every maze on them. So everybody grown. If you want to be treated disrespectful, you want to treat other folk disrespectful, then you will get the disrespect. So y'all continue to do what you do. Shut down the noise. I have no confidence. No, I am confident that you all will bring Rocky Mount back, make it better than it was. And I'm talking about back to the, early 20s and going back before then. Because I know, I've been coming to this meeting along the end board them up here, the council member. And I see where Rocky Mount came from, and I see where they're going. And y'all can keep on with the noise all you want to. Y'all the ones hindering the process. You need to get on board and stop the noise. So again, I just want to say thank y'all for all you're doing. I do all my shopping in Rocky Mount, I work in Rocky Mount. I spend more time in Rocky Mount than I do in Valentine. And Talbot. But I'm all over the place. So y'all continue to do what you do and just shut down the noise. Shut out the noise.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Rolanda Williams to the podium.
All right, I'm not as nice as everybody else is, so I'm just going to speak it. First off, I'd like to say good evening, fellow citizens of Rocky Mount. I want to thank you first and foremost for recognizing the exceptional qualities of our athletes. And it's nice to see some real positivity for a change, so thank you for that. And it's me, Rolanda Williams. I'm still pissed off and outspoken. I have to comment on things. You said that in the last meeting, as I didn't have an option to speak otherwise, I want to clarify that you remember you guys made this personal when you basically threw everything back on us. There had been other ways that could have been taken and other paths that could have involved us more. The problems lie with the leadership and the responsibility that's associated with it. We want like a complete list of cuts that you're making. Show us you're making an effort. We see your lips moving, but we don't see anything coming back at us. And it was said that the financial problems are embarrassing for the city. No, not for the city. Let me enlighten you guys. It's the actions and it is the true embarrassment that you guys have shown us. It's called the leadership that you're showing us. You hire the city managers. They work for you and you in turn work for us. I simply don't believe when you claim that you don't know how this happened. We, the people of Rocky Mount, aren't upset about needing or using the funds to keep up the infrastructure. It's the fact that the funds were there and they were taken out of the account and used for other things. And you depleted it. The real issue is we're not naive. We know in order to maintain, service, there has to be money to do so. But you're making us pay for the misuse of the funds. That's where the injustice still lies. On us as your piggy banks. The ones forced to pay for your incompetence, and we continue to suffer for it. I've always heard if you can't do the job, then go home. Or you'll be told you're fired. And if you can't do the job that you're elected to do, step down. Simple. The sad thing is you just went through the guise of pomp and circumstance to make us feel like we had a chance to make a difference when you already had your minds made up, with the exception of two. Shame on all of you. As for the one saying you understand the hardship put upon us, stating I understand, I have empathy for them. I'm a resident. I live here. I pay utilities as well. Unfortunately, this is something we all got to kind of go through. Getting paid what you do shouldn't be more understanding of our plight and the repercussions of your actions. Well, I call bullcrap because several of you should know all about it. You do not put yourselves in our shoes. We know of someone that stole from us, never paid us back, and yet votes for us to pay while this balance is still outstanding. That's hypocritical. No other word for it. You really expect us to believe you understand? Please. We don't have access to the stolen or misappropriated funds, receive the overinflated salaries, or simply refuse to pay our bills and get by with it like you all do. We don't have our own companies to fall back on.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Thank you. I'd invite Nathan Reed to the podium.
Good afternoon, Mayor Robinson, City Councilman, and all present. Today I have a public petition to present, and I would like to request to be added to the agenda if I can to present my petition.
All right, we'll receive your petition and it'll become part of the minutes.
Right now or later.
What are you asking, to read the petition?
Well, I was going to read it and submit it to you for public record,
Well, yeah, so you can read it. You have 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We've stopped the time for you to have this conversation, and we'll add it to the public record.
My goal was 100 signatures in 2 days when I caught my fighter. And I have before me over 200 signatures. It's dated for April 13th, 2026. Petition organizer, Nathlin O'Ree. It reads, we, the citizens of the city of Rocky Mount, North Carolina, do sign this petition demanding the immediate reduction of salaries of all city employees who receive $125,000 or more annually by at least 8%. These high salaries have been part of the overspending that helped cause our current financial crisis. This reduction is more fair to families than cutting jobs. Furthermore, reducing the highest paid salaries can help save other jobs and would be a show of good faith and sincere solidarity with the citizens and their families who will have to make do with much less in order to continue paying the salaries of city employees through taxes and utilities.
Stand that's it. Assistant Manager Vicky there. Ma'am. This time I'd like to invite Alice Albritton to the podium.
Good evening. All right. I came this evening to specifically to thank you for Mr. Archie, Charles, and the DOT department. I am a senior at Great Court Apartment, and we needed a crosswalk, and they did it. And I would take some days and go down there and watch their work. They did a beautiful job. And I just want them to know, and I thank God for putting the right people in the right place for what we needed. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Crystal Weems Anderson to the podium. Sure, I'll recognize you, Councilman Robertson.
Yes, I want to thank you for advocating for that. 72 apartments are there in Grand Court of Seniors. And the first thing she told me when I was elected is we need that crosswalk. I met out there at night. You walked across that street. I almost got hit by a car. It was crazy. So I want to thank Archie Jones and Donna Perry and his team and the DOT. I talked to those people and they made it happen. And I'm so thankful for you advocating and the other young elder that advocated along with you.
Right.
So thank you. It's a team effort and thank everyone that was involved.
Ms. Williams Anderson.
Good evening, Mayor and council members and city staff. I'm here to speak about something foundational to every decision the city makes, how we structure and stabilize our funding for city operations. When the foundation is unstable, every service, public safety, infrastructure, staffing, and long-term planning feels the impact. Right now, Rocky Mount relies significantly on utility revenues, water, sewer, and electric systems to help support general governmental operations. While utilities are essential services, the challenges come when they are also used as a financial bridge for core city spending. Utility revenue is not guaranteed in the same way as tax revenue. It fluctuates based on usage, weather patterns, economic pressure on households, and payment delinquencies. That means the city's operating stability becomes tied to variables outside of long-term control. Property tax, on the other hand, provides a fundamental, more stable base. Land cannot be turned off, canceled, or avoided. Ownership is continuous and assessed values provide a predictable framework for revenue collection. Because of this, property tax is the most reliable foundation for funding essential city operations. When we underutilize that stability and instead shift general enterprise services and core government, when we underutilize that stability and instead shift general operating costs into utilities, we blur the line between enterprise services and core government functions. Over time, that structure creates risk. It places pressure on utility rates, increases the likelihood of affordability issues, and can contribute to higher delinquency rates that then feed back into the city's budget instability. It also makes city operations indirectly dependent on whether residents can consistently pay utility bills rather than on a stable tax base tied to property ownership. That is not a resilient model for long-term service delivery or workforce stability. And it contributes to the strain we see in retaining experienced staff and maintaining consistent service levels. A stronger approach is to clearly separate funding sources. Utilities should fund utility system maintenance, infrastructure, and service delivery. General government services should be primarily supported by property tax, which offers predictable and transparency. This alignment strengthens financial planning, reduces volatility, and creates a more honest structure for how services are funded. If we want long-term stability, we have to fix the foundation and not just adjust the systems. It's similar to waiting on child support. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Alana Austin to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Alana Austin, and I am a North Carolina native and graduate student at UNC Chapel Hill, who for the past year has been working with a team of fellow students on initiatives with the Rural Opportunity Institute, which is based here in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Between 2024 and 2025, the amount of homicides in Rocky Mount was 167%. And compared to the national gun homicide rate, Edgecombe County has 3.4 times more gun homicide instances. In light of these numbers and the vast loss they represent, our focus of research has been on gun violence in the area, and specifically how something like community violence interventions may be able to reduce these numbers. Community violence interventions approach gun violence from the perspective that gun violence is a public health issue. By targeting the most people at risk for being a victim of gun violence or previous victims of gun violence, the core components of community violence interventions focus on three main areas. First, interrupting cycles of violence. Secondly, prevention, retaliation, and most importantly, making connections with community members and all those impacted by gun violence. As a current middle and high school counselor myself, one type of community violence intervention of particular interest and effectiveness in its regard is youth programming initiatives. Youth summer employment opportunities that allow for competitive income and skills building are shown to reduce involvement in community violence, and when combined with mentoring and mental health support, rates of school-based violence and community violence have been shown to decrease significantly. Gun violence is, in fact, costly, with the highest cost being the lives lost and the grief of the loved ones left behind. But it is also preventable. And investing directly in community violence interventions, specifically youth-focused employment and mental health initiatives that can become a reality. Thank you for your time. And if there are any questions from anyone on the council or anyone in the audience, myself or my team would love to be able to share our research and what recommendations we have for policy. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Hillary Ray to the podium.
Good evening, members of the City Council, Mr. Mayor, and members of city staff.
My name is Hillary Rao. I am part of the same UNC graduate school team as Ms. Austin, who just spoke. But I'm here to speak about a different aspect of what we've been working on, which is hospital-based violence intervention programs. These are highly effective programs for reducing gun violence, and they are widely used across North Carolina, but they have not yet been implemented in this part of the state. Given the severity of the problem here, this is an opportunity that has the potential to save lives. Hospital-based violence intervention programs focus on victims of gun violence who survive shootings. Victims who survive shootings are at higher risk than other people of being victimized again. So by connecting victims with case management, community services, and safety planning, these programs effectively reduce the rates of repeat injury. They are also cost effective. As Alana mentioned, the greatest cost is of human life, but economically, a single firearm homicide costs taxpayers over $600,000. The implementation of violence programs, and particularly hospital-based violence programs, costs much less than the cost of allowing violence to continue. These programs exist in almost every level 1 trauma facility across the state. We have them in Winston-Salem and in Durham and in Raleigh and in Charlotte. They are not yet at ECU. This is an opportunity to save lives. ECU is working on trying to get funding, trying to get something like this started, because ECU serves a large area that is fairly dispersed. Local community partnership and follow through is going to be really important to make sure that these programs are effective. So we wanted to raise to the city council that this is an opportunity for the city council to partner with folks at ECU, to partner with folks in the local community, to figure out how people who are currently victims of gun violence can receive services and can receive the sorts of connections that will prevent repeat violence, that will prevent future homicides and future injuries. We have some printed materials here with us today, and you have my contact information. We've been working on this project for a full year, and we would be happy to share some of our resources that we have developed with the council to show you more of what we've been working on with this. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Frank Henderson to the podium.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
What's up, Mr. Mayor? How you doing?
Good.
Council, city manager, everybody here. It's an honor to be here. This is a beautiful, beautiful night and a beautiful, beautiful city. And I love it to death. I do want to say one thing. You cannot lead by going backwards. And I've seen everything, I've heard everything, but I just want to say this. I am 100% committed to my vote. Councilman that I voted for him because I believed in him. And I still believe in him. I believe that I pastor a church in this city. And there's somebody in this church that I pastor that sits in every one of y'all's wards. And when I talk to them, I tell them, believe in your councilman. I don't care what has gone down. Things have been put in place to handle that. We can't go backwards and we can't go forward worrying about what happened in the past. Things have been put in place. You guys have come. You have said that you were going to do what needed to be done. You sat down and listened to recommendations. You're sitting here right now, leading from the front. And I appreciate that with everything in my heart. I believe that you guys will do everything that needs to happen. And because of the tough times you've been through, I respect you more. Most people would quit. None of you have quit. None of you have abandoned the ship. You've taken everything that people can say, and you still come and you sit right here. And you know what's going to happen when you sit right here. You know what's going to be said. And the last thing I'll say is this. No matter who you are living in this city, we on the same boat. You got to row together. We got to get rid of confusion, plank, and we have got to learn how to collaborate together. If we collaborate together, I guarantee you, in 6 months' time, people will forget about everything that's went down. All we gotta do is point forward, set our faces like Flint and get the job done. But I just wanted to make sure I came by tonight and said this. I believe in all of you, 100%.
Thank you. That's good. I'd like to invite Regina Townsend to the podium.
I didn't come to cause any confusion. I come to get some understanding because I have a granddaughter that's coming up. She's 17 to vote. And I want her to get to vote, not because she like you, not because she know you, because she believe that you would do the right thing for her future. And I went back and I got your council, section 32. See that your councilman must live within the ward where he has been elected. If he is not within his ward, then he has to resign and appoint, the council has to appoint someone else. I ride up and down in the streets of Rocky Mountain. There's no way. We have had a whole lot of things that go on in our ward. If our councilman would come out within the community and speak on it, then the killing that happened at 3 Oaks on Raleigh Boulevard, I never see nobody out there. I didn't see nobody out there. I didn't see nobody over in Little Raleigh. I didn't see nobody. I didn't hear nobody. If he's not doing what he's supposed to do within his lines of his border, what you have, this is your border. This is what's here before you. He not, you get what their grandma used to say, stealing. We used to call it fraud. Now it's called a scam. You're not supposed to get paid for nothing if you're not coming out for the council of the city. We pay you to come out to protect us. You took an oath to come out. This is you. And if you're not in within your lines of the guys of the ward, then you're not qualified to be over the ward. We don't need it. And anytime you go down Fountain Street in Hillsdale, the roof is laying in a building that's been there for years. They used to cut hair in it. Right down South Rocky Mountain, the structure, the roof is on the bottom of the structure of the house. Go down a little bit further. My grandmother used to live 22, so that got to be 20. A little yellow house. Looked like somebody either ran it or kicked it. And you're about us. When they shoot us, you're not about us. You don't duck when we duck. You don't want, what is that? When they boom, boom. You don't ask no questions because you don't live where we live. There's no way. There's no way. Because you would care about us. You'll be concerned about us. You can help them men right there. Y'all don't help them. Y'all don't help us. Over in Little Rock, over in Hillsdale, over on Happy Hill, when you close that doggone homeless shelter, Happy Hill is in for a rude awakening. They already got the vagrants over there living in an abandoned house. Right now. And you for us? No, you're not. You're lying. And I'm gonna call you a liar to your face. It don't be matter to me if you be cool or come out of a bag on me. It really doesn't matter. Because I don't have to go home with now one of you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Mary Derry to the podium.
Hi there. You get kind of used to seeing me, sorry. I want to bring up something a little different. I'm a user of our dog park in town. And recently, apparently, the cops have been stopping by just to monitor and make sure we have our dogs on a leash before we go in the dog park. Some of the people even state that they've been threatened with the next time they're seen without a leash on the dog, they're going to be fined. I know we're in financial trouble in this city, but I don't really think you're going to get enough out of the dog park to make up the difference. Okay? We're pretty much self-contained community there. We police ourselves. Believe me, any dog walking and off leash is one that is a pet that is so well behaved that nobody questions it walking in off leash. So as a member of the dog park community, we would appreciate it if you guys would just take care of the murders and the other things going on around and kind of let us monitor ourselves, because I think we do a pretty good job. And I did want to add something to one of the earlier people who said something about the property taxes. As a homeowner, all I gotta say is, I don't think it's very fair to put all of the expenses of the city on the people who own homes, when we have a lot of renters who therefore would be not contributing to that fund. I think there's got to be some kind of medium ground where some of the electrical is used for it, along with the taxes. But as a person who has to pay the property tax, I really won't appreciate it going up any more than it has already gone up. But that's just my personal opinion. You guys have a nice night.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Earl Jones to the podium.
Good evening. Earl Jones, Ward 6, child of God, proud Navy veteran, retired state employee, product tracer, and a voice for all citizens of Rocky Mount. Today is day 119 with respect to your utility billing disaster. Still no answers. 3 things still requested of you, just to refresh your memory. We want 12 bills per year, more respect from you to us, and refunds for overbilled services. I've been doing some number crunching on our city manager and business service director salary comparisons between Rocky Mount and Greenville. It's my understanding Rocky Mount city manager makes $263,000 per year, Greenville $217,000. Rocky Mount's population 54,500. Greenville's weighted average population 87,250. That equates to every man, woman, and child in Rocky Mount paying $4.83 for our city manager. Greenville citizens only pay $2.49 for their city manager, and they don't have a standing date with the LGC. Now consider the Rocky Mount Director of Business Services makes $181,000 per year, Greenville $81,000. So the cost per citizen of Rocky Mount, $3.32. Greenville pays 93 cents. And no billing disaster or audit required in Greenville. Aligning these two salaries alone with equivalent per citizen cost rates would save almost $258,000 annually. With many more to come, approximately 60, I believe. We simply cannot afford to, and we're getting poor performance to boot. We're all in this together. This is shared pain, and it's your turn. The LGC said you need a bulldozer, not a shovel. Start at the top and cut. I've shown you how to start, so get jiggy with it. Coming soon, internal controls on cash collections at the event center and Wire City manager employees, not subject to 401k cuts like other rank and file and essential employees in other departments within the city. If that's true, it doesn't strike me as fair and equitable at all. Thank you.
I'd like to invite Dr. Coote, and sure, I'll recognize you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you. Every city employee that's not a law enforcement officer did receive the same cut for the 401k as all other general employees. And there's been a lot of talk about my salary, other folks' salary, Greenville salary. The numbers that have been stated tonight are all inaccurate. I would recommend if someone wants to get the accurate figures, they contact the local government. It's all public information, and do a public records request. That way you can get accurate figures on your salaries, not only just in Rocky Mount, but every city and county within North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Coote? Yes, sir. I'll recognize you while Dr. Coote walks up.
Thank you. Just one more thing, Ed. Fine to say anything you want to say. This is public comment. It's good. But sometimes people think because information is relayed in the public is accurate. The primary difference between Greenville and Rocky Mount, Greenville does not manage their own utilities. They have a separate utility commission. And all of those, and we can't hear you. I'm sorry. Thank you. I apologize. Thank you. No allergy, seasonal allergy. Greenville does not manage their electric and gas utilities. Is that correct? They have an entirely separate organization with a leader, a full staff, and their rates are higher than ours. So if you want to do a dollar for dollar comparison, you got to add the city manager's salary plus the Greenville Utilities leader. If you want to talk collections, Greenville, they only collect property taxes. They don't collect utilities. So if you want a dollar for dollar comparison, you have to work with a dollar for dollar operational comparison. Just want to clarify that the situations are not the same. The billing is not the same. We're in a horrible situation. We talked about it. Appreciate everyone's concern. But it's really not fair to not have the correct information while we're all going through fixes. We understand. We understand. We understand. I don't have it. I think that Mr. Manager just told you how to get it. And I think we have also made comparisons. You know, we've done all kinds of comparisons. But I'm just wanting to correct the data. And if you want to make a dollar for dollar comparison, let's make sure that the situations are the same. That's all I say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Coote.
Good evening. As elected officials of the city, you're given the mandate to govern wisely and most importantly, to take care of the finances of the city as you would your own home. The citizens demanded transparency and accountability. You have failed us on both fronts. I would like to know what are some of the cost-cutting savings you have carried out. For example, how many people have been laid off and from which department, and how much have you saved from that move, as well as what would be the impact in those affected departments. This request may seem extreme, but given the severe predicament you have placed us, I feel we have no choice but be more vigilant over how we're being governed. One area I've noticed while working in the Workforce Affordable Housing Commission is the presence of many abandoned homes, many of which were left due to unpaid back taxes. If so, why has the City Council been so reluctant to go after these accounts? And if indeed you have sold the tax foreclosed homes, how many homes and how much was the city able to get? If you do not regroup some of this money and still consider raising property taxes on top of the utility raises, you will be turning away a lot of actual tax-paying residents who will be moving away from the city because it has become increasingly unaffordable for them to live here. Another dangerous trend that have also emerged that I noticed, the tendency to blame the problem on the poorest and the most disadvantaged in the city. And that happened to be the African-American majority. And if we're not careful, this budget crisis could potentially spark increasing racial tensions. We do not need that. We need to tone down all the toxic racism running rampant in social media. Stop the blame game on each other and deal with the facts rather than rhetoric. Victims should never feel they are the cause for their victimization. Instead, structural issues should be addressed. Whenever there's a financial crunch in any institution, whether it is a city or the colleges or the hospital, the first to be cut are always human-related services and their departments. In this case, it would be cultural events, housing, parks, etc. In colleges, humanities gets the cut first. Eventually, we become a nation of automatons, bereft of humanity. That will be the biggest tragedy for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Veronica Jennings to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a couple of comments. One, I want to repeat a request I made a couple of months ago. Itemized bills for services that the city charges. Not only just utilities now, but water, sewer, everything. We need to know what is the rate so that we can multiply and divide and do our own math, see if it matches up. These increases, you gave us 15%, almost in every one of these. We have no idea what the base rate is, and it needs to be on our bills every month so that we can track these things. And so because, and not be subject to sudden changes in budget crises. Number two, it's time for the 2027 fiscal budget. And I'd like to know when, have a schedule, when are the public hearings, when are we going to see that budget? And what's going to be the input that we as citizens get into that budget? Number one, no property taxes. This will be the third year in a row. I am a retiree. This is starting to really pinch everybody's pockets. Enough is enough. It's time for us to cut that budget and start to really cut expenses. The other thing I want to speak on is an item that's coming up on this budget, on this agenda tonight. And that is item 14, the reclassification of a position to create a new budget position in the city manager's office. The one thing that we have been trying to talk, our citizens have been talking about is cutting expenses, high salary positions. And this is another example to me, and I hope that this council will speak up when this opportunity comes. Because this is what happened before with a previous city manager, adding people and salaries. Because we're adding now another person, you have two assistant city managers. Why can't one of them be your budget person? What is the other budget people doing in the city? Because we already have a budget person that does this. I hope that there's some conversation around why are we adding people, cutting the lower end of our people who are on salaries and not the high end. It's time for us to move up and get to the real problem here. That's what I would hope that you would look at when you look at this, about this. Because you're cutting out the director of communications. And the one thing that this council and this city does very poorly is communicating with your citizens. We don't get any information or initiatives here in this from this council.
Thank you, Ms. Jennings. I'd like to invite Richard Petway to the podium.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. I'll recognize you, Councilman Daughtry.
Well, Mr. Petway is making his way forward to the manager to talk about the budget dates that we discussed earlier. And then The
Budget dates for May 13th, May 14th from 10 a.m. until and on the 21st are the currently scheduled ones, starting at 10 a.m. They are public meetings and will be noticed.
right, and that was just made today in the committee of the.
What's the dates again? please?
13th, 14th, and 21st.
Starting at 10 a.m. They will be noticed.
And
Mr. Pepper,
Tentative, public hearing on, June eighth, possibly, June 22nd, but that's the tentative schedule.
we'll know that until we have the meeting, sorry. Correct. Mr. Pepper.
Good afternoon,
Good
Mayor,
afternoon.
City Council. I am tired of hearing about all this other stuff going on and people coming up here getting on one or two people about what they've done. When they have city manager Keith Rogers, who sat in their debt for almost 2 years and they never complained about it. They complained about Tony when she was in that seat, city manager seat, but they never came up here and talked about Keith Rogers when he was doing wrong. But yet and still they get on one or two people who were trying to do something and they talking about how he didn't do this and how he didn't do that. But the rest of the people, when they were trying to get something done, everybody else was sitting up there talking about, oh, let them do their job. They can do their job. And yet and still, they were doing their job. We're tired of it. Stop pointing your fingers at the two people and start pointing your fingers at the people that didn't do. And the Bible said, let him who is without sin cast the first stone. And if you got sin in your life and you trying to tell somebody about their sin, why you gonna throw a stone? I'm not trying to throw no stone. I'm trying to pick up the pebble. I'm trying to put it back in the water and get that water moving smooth. That's what we want the city council to do. Get it moving. This used to be the seat on the ride. People used to talk about Rocky Mountain, seat on the ride. They used to have it on the TV, coming on TV. I don't hear that no more. They done faded it out. Why can't we get back to being the seat on the ride? Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Darlene Spencer Harris to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Not much on my plate today, but I did just want to point out a couple of things. Our newly elected councilman, Charles Watson for Ward 3, which I reside, doesn't have his picture out there on that display as of yet. Today is April 13th. He was sworn in on December 8th. There's no reason, no acceptable reason why his photograph is not out there. That's number one. Number two, we the citizens that come before y'all, we come with suggestions. We don't try to be the city manager. We don't try to be a councilman. We come with suggestions, hoping that you're actually listening to them and maybe even taking into consideration. What we would like to know also is some of the updates for some of the cuts that have been made since you met with the LGC. Not just an overlay, but detailed. And how it's going to benefit us in the long run, so we don't have this shortcoming again. Third, although there's no money in the budget for traffic studies at this time, we request in Ward 3 a study along Arlington Street, starting from Raleigh Boulevard to Dunn Street where it ends. We have expressed this concern numerous times over the years, and nothing has been addressed. Anytime you park your vehicle on the street, 3 o'clock in the morning, somebody comes along and hit the parked car, tears it up. Or they come around that corner because the road dips out and they're doing 40 and 50.
It may not seem like that's fast, but it's a main road. The tractor trailers come through there, they're running just as fast. God forbid that kid's ball goes out into the street, and this is all day. This is all day, all evening. God forbid that child's ball goes out into that street. Then what? We're sorry. We would just name that street after that child, in memory of that child. That parent doesn't want to hear that. We need to slow these vehicles down at all costs. If you would take into consideration, maybe find some money for a study, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Fred Hodges to the podium.
Good evening, I'm Fred Hodges, I'm the Ward 6. And Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council, got a lot of things I'd like to say to y'all tonight. You've heard a lot of things said to y'all over the period of time. But I'm mad as hell and I'm not taking it anymore. But some of you may or may not remember that line by Peter Finch in 1976 film Network, but it's certainly applicable today. And appropriate for every citizen of our community. I've lived in Rocky Mount since 1989. I've been friends with 2 council members and the mayor since that time. With all the shenanigans regarding the city's finances coming to light and how they cause significant harm to my well-being financially, I'm not sure that is the case today. It seems to me that this mess all started on previous Mayor Cummings and has continued up to the current day. The common denominator is the 2 council members, Mr. Knight and Mr. Blackwell.
Mr. Hodges, I'll ask you to refrain from naming folks.
Okay, 2 city council members have been on the city council, and you figure out who they are. And then the 2 council members and Mayor Robertson came in, but problems not only persisted, but got worse. I watched the meeting where the utility rates were increased. And I noticed that all the council members and the mayor couldn't wait to vote for the motion to increase, except for Mr. Robertson and Mr. Walker. Thank you for that. They both wanted more information in order to make an educated decision. Why have y'all not done that in the past? Are you complicit in all the nefarious deals? Or just plain stupid? I don't think it is the latter, but neither sheds good light on any of you. One thing that I've not heard from any of you is I'm sorry. That wouldn't fix anything, but it would have gone a long way to starting a healing process. I think all of you should resign with very minimal, give up your salaries as cuts. And have you looked into selling electricities to Duke Power? That would be another story. Raising utility rates and property taxes is not the answer, especially when you cause it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite
Mayor.
Dorothy Cook to the podium. If you would, I'm sure I'll recognize you this from my well.
Sure was fresh on my mind. I'd like to get it off my mind. It's crazy, you was mad as hell. I've said that before. And if you get your facts correct, sir, Reuben Blackwell and Andre Knight, yes, we've been here 20-some years. But we didn't have a deficit when we was here. And Rochelle Small Tonga left with $115 million in the bank. When Chief Roger came with 40 million. Interim city manager, Peter Barney, another 40 million. So I say to you, do your homework, get the facts, look at the video before you come down here blaming somebody with inaccurate information. God bless you.
Mr. Cook.
God bless you.
Mr. Cook.
Bless you.
Come on, yes.
Bless
Mr.
you.
Cook, please, you have the floor.
Good evening.
I can't speak about the utility issues. It did just start a couple of years ago. This thing has been in existence since I know since 1999 with Hurricane Florida. When we had issues with the city, right, my utilities, we could pay our bill or go without, and a lot of us went out. Because they say the city right now is a municipal government that's governed within themselves, so they make their own rules, make their own policies, and then you got a problem with what they decide, then you have to come back and get a resolve. We even went to the utility commission and they told us they had no jurisdiction, they were sorry. As a matter of fact, we had an elderly person that was here. We found out that there was a debt from the Sheriff's Harris Indian nuclear plant investment that went belly up, and they were putting the bills toward us. Y'all didn't have no meeting or whatever with the ancestors we liked and appreciated, we're gonna do it, they did it. And the majority of the debt that was paid back, that was added on to the bills to the people of African American poor, people that were the white people also, no disrespect, but a lot of them was in nursing homes, other places, and they still was getting bills. And we were told either we was gonna pay these bills or go without, and a lot of people went without. Matter of fact, there was a man that lived on Edgecombe County side, and a little blue house on Edgecombe County Street that died because he couldn't afford to pay for debt that was owed by somebody else that they added on to the bill. And just told us we didn't have no say about it, either we could pay the bill or go without. We were charged for city gas, was not, as a matter of fact, they didn't erase mine, they had my bill up to about $10,000. And then decided that I had to pay $190-some about 2 years ago. And that was all that was owed. And my thing is like I said, sir, even with this bringing in this 336 acres of land that you purchased to put a casino or whatever on, you pay $15 million for that, and you can take that money and put it back towards getting these utilities paid down. It doesn't make any sense. And like I said, I myself ain't saying negative about nothing, and nobody sitting up here because a lot of these people wasn't even nowhere found in 1999. And if they were, they didn't have position. The evil that's in operation behind the scenes of this city. This city was taken from the indigenous people that owned the land. And then people came in on Mr. Braswell or whoever it was that became the mayor, and then his grandson that was city manager or whatever position he was, and they started a war and took the land. So it's robbery from the get-together. You have to deal with the evil that's in the operation behind the scenes. When you come in and take somebody and start a war, murder people, and the ones that lost the battle or whatever, they even go to other states and live in the city, come in and say, this is fine to be done. And after that fact, even after the Hurricane Florida came in, it used to be a city council member named Chris Miller. She sat in her seat and said when the city wanted to purchase one of the other citizens' property and they wouldn't sell it, she sat in the city council seat and said, well, he dead now, we can take it. So the spirit of murder is in operation. You got robbery, increase, all these people behind, and there's the court that we have taken it to and still pleading it before God. And I say to you to be asked God to be seated and ask God to hear and judge over this, because this has been going on for too long. And that the president is his blood and cry out with God, and ain't he got no sacrifice.
Thank you, Ms. Goddard. I'd like to invite Maury Menchie's to the podium.
Ooh, that's all I gotta say. That lady was upset. One little thing, and I know this doesn't really mean a hill of beans to anybody, but I wish y'all could switch that public petition. As far as I know, a petition is a list of people's names who are for or against something. Why can't you just call it public concern? That means I'm concerned about something and I want to come say something to y'all, and maybe you'll listen and maybe you won't. Also save money. I don't really, I shouldn't say I don't care, but we don't have any money, so we shouldn't have parades for Christmas or whatever. We're bent down to the bare bones. Go next door, go to Tarboro, or go somewhere else and watch their Christmas parade or 4th of July fireworks, and then we don't have to shell out for all that stuff. And they're right next to us. And as much as I hate to say it, that music festival that's on the Imperial State lawn, I love that. But throw that out too, because we don't have any money. A friend of mine wanted to know, how can we pay bills and salaries, and we really don't have any money. I mean, we probably have some money to run something. I would like to know how in the world Rocky Mount got over, let's just say the smallest one, $60 million that got lost. Where did we get 60 million? This is Rocky Mount. This is not, New York City. Also, and I was going to talk about this, but I talk slow or something. But everybody in this city needs to buy the Saturday through Monday, April 11th through 13th dates. There is a man, not just a man, he is an Army brigadier general. That means he's not one of those grunts. This guy's obviously got good sense. I don't know him, but he did a beautiful essay, I guess, on audit found a scapegoat, not the source. This man makes so much good sense. He said the real problem is long-term city members hold the real power. The mayor has almost no power. Turnover in key financial positions went unaddressed. And that happened on Small Toonies. She got everybody all upset and they all left.
Thank you, Ms. Majors.
Back pay.
I'd like to invite Antoinette Cutler to the podium.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Manager, City Councilors, and to each of you in your respective places on this afternoon. I stand before you with a concern that so many of us in the city of Rocky Mount that receive utility bills have. Not to sound like a record, but on Friday, last Friday afternoon, I went to the city to pay my taxes and also to have my draft taken off of my account for my utilities. As someone have stated before, you all just don't communicate well. When you first did this in January, because I have a draft on my account, and I pull money from one account to another account to make sure that I meet my budget every month. And I did that. And then I had checks to bounce because you all pulled out for utilities. If I had not gone on Friday to take care of some business or taking care of my taxes and other business, I would not have found out that on April the 28th, that I will also be getting another bill, which I had just paid one bill for $392 on the 1st of April. And on the 28th of April, I will be paid another bill for $198. I would not have known that if I had not taken a trip to the city utility building to take care of these other business and to ask for the draft to be taken off of my account. We have to have a better communication with the citizens of Rocky Mount. You have elders that don't know anything about the second bill, even though they say that we won't pay a bill in May. I'm just trying to figure out now. Could you please tell us now? Would we pay two bills in June, July, August, September, October, November, or December? Please make it make sense. That's all you gotta do is just make it make sense. And for my Last, the Bible says, cry loud and spare not. When we have the opportunity to speak up for ourselves and our cities and the citizens here, we should cry loud and we should spare not.
Thank you.
The Bible also says, do
Thank you,
things
Ms. Cox.
decently and in
Thank
order.
you, Ms. Cox.
As long as we're in order, cry loud
At this time,
and spare not.
brings us to the consent agenda. This time I would like to receive a motion to approve consent agenda as written, inclusive of adopting the resolutions, approving the tax releases, authorize staff to apply for grant, authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute documentation and certifications, including subsequent grant agreements on behalf of the city, and instruct Department of Development Services to prepare a feasibility study. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Daughtry, is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Harris. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. All opposed, like sign. Consent agenda is approved. Brings us to item number 10, which is consideration of the recommendations from the planning board meeting, which was held on February 10th, 2026. Acknowledge the receipt of the planning board minutes. This is not a public hearing. Is there a member of staff who would like to walk us through what public hearing is to be about?
Yes, thank you. This agenda item is for a rezoning request to rezone approximately 2.6 acres at 1400 North Edgewood Boulevard from B2 Commercial Corridor District to B5, a commercial district, to better align with the existing development pattern along this major commercial corridor. There's a mix of commercial and industrial uses in the immediate area, including properties that were recently, in the recent past, rezoned to B5 nearby. While there may be typical impacts such as increased traffic or intensity, these are expected along a major corridor and will be addressed at the time site development plan is submitted. Request is consistent with the city's comprehensive plan, supports economic development, and represents a logical extension of existing. Planning board has recommended the request. I'm going to answer any questions you may have.
Anybody have any questions, Mr. Bookdoe? All right, this time I will open up the podium to any, I'm sorry. Yes, Councilman Robertson.
I received a question about the budget impact. I saw on the documents, they said no budget impact regarding the feasibility study. Would that have any budget impact? It's a question I received.
Sure. The rezoning of the property will have no budgetary impact on the city.
Any other questions? Okay, this time I will open the podium, open the floor to any member of the public who wishes to speak to the matter before us, which is a request by Herbert Sutton, property owner, to rezone plus or minus 2.58 acres located at 1400 Northwest End Boulevard from B2, which is commercial corridor, to B5 CD, which is conditional commercial services. Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak on this particular matter? Again, I'd like to invite any member of the public here who wishes to speak on the W. Herbert Sutton property owner rezoning request of plus or minus 2.5 acres located at 1400 Northwest End Boulevard from B2 to B5 CD. Okay, seeing none, hearing none, I will close the public comment period. This time I'll receive a motion to adopt the ordinance.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Daughtry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Harris. Is there a need for discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Rezoning carries. Item 10B, which is a public hearing relative to the following land development code amendment recommended for approval and found in compliance with comprehensive plan by the planning board. I'll again turn it over to you, Mr. Buckbeak, to give us an overview.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Within Rocky Mount, there are a number of internet cafes that are currently operating without clear authorization under the Land Development Code, which is limiting staff's ability to effectively enforce compliance. The proposed amendment addresses this gap by creating a defined regulatory framework, which would establish where the uses may locate and under what conditions. Several municipalities across North Carolina have adopted similar ordinances to successfully manage and reduce the internet cafe activity. And based on these outcomes, staff believes the amendment is practical and defensible, and the planning board has recommended approval. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions? Mr. Booker?
I don't know if this
Yes,
is,
sir, Councilman
if
Daughtry.
this goes over in from the committee of the whole, we spoke about this earlier, but it might be better answered by the attorney, but the internet cafe skill-based gaming is not something that City of Rocky Mount has approved. It's what the state of North Carolina allows. And we're just investing to best suit the city of Rocky Mount to comply with the state of North Carolina. Still allowing what's allowed within the state. Is that accurate?
Councilman Daughtry, that's correct. Games of skill are legal in North Carolina. That is the land use that the text amendment would provide some ground rules to regulate, as well as, allocate which zoning districts that use can fall. But that is the use that our North Carolina courts have said is lawful. So yes. Okay.
Councilman Knight, I'm sorry, were you finished?
Yes, sir.
Councilman Knight?
Again, my concern is, if we are allowing this as a permitted use, land development code, that, once we issue those permits, the owners of these establishments will not be targeted for, closed down by law enforcement. Now, I understand, our chief here, that we may not enforce that, but I asked the question again with the sheriff department. In recent past, has been where those establishments were shut down for, was it about all? Well, not law enforcement. So I just want to make sure that City of Rocky Mount, Nash, County Sheriff, Stone, and Ishmael County Sheriff, the accident, we all on the same page, that we are creating issues.
Sir,
So you may not can answer that, yeah, be a attorney and a chief question.
The proposed land development code amendment would address the use from a land use perspective, and the definition of skill-based gaming and internet cafe as proposed is that it's any business enterprise that's deemed legal by state law where persons utilize electronic machines to conduct games of skill, and where cash, merchandise, or other items of value are redeemed or otherwise distributed. Whether the value of such distribution is determined by electronic games played or by predetermined odds. Further, any business operating more than 2 standalone electronic gaming machines shall be considered a primary use, even if it is associated with or located alongside another permitted primary use. And this use does not include any lottery approved by the state of North Carolina. So again, the proposed amendment would address the land use, and it's clear in the definition that what we would be granting the certificate of occupancy for is what state law deems to be legal.
I understand everything that you said, but again, I'm asking a question. It may be, I don't know if it's any of the other council members concerned, that we need to consult with the sheriffs. We're permitting this and then somebody, get shut down and get fined. To me, that's a double standard. So let's just, so. I don't want to put anybody in that position, but we can permit it then somebody will come shut you down, fine you. And you just, yeah.
If, I'd venture to state that any facility that, offered a service or product that was deemed legal by the state would not run into that concern.
So, thank you. I guess all y'all heard that.
Councilman TJ Walker, I'll recognize you, then I'll recognize you. Did you still want to speak, Councilman Thompson? Sure. And then I'll recognize you, Councilman Marshall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know planning board's been working on this over, I believe we first received beginning conversations last year. Tonight, or really Friday, when we received our agenda package, was the first I saw, the actual unwinding and developing of the agenda item you see tonight. So that for the sake of more time, and conversation with, many of the owners, of said entity, I'll make a motion to table this item tonight.
Do a motion to table at least the consideration of the ordinance, but I think it would be appropriate for us to at least receive public hearing tonight, if in fact that would be appropriate, assuming you get a second on the table.
Thank you.
Second.
All right, I have a second on that. All in favor of tabling it tonight by show of hands, say aye.
Aye.
I mean, is that 1, 2, 3 to table it? Okay, all opposed, same signal. Okay, we'll consider the matter tonight. All right, Councilman Aldridge, and then I'll recognize you, Councilman Sparks, so forth.
Mr. Bocook, I think you answered it. We're not considering whether this is legal or not. We're just saying in the land development code, we're in the city of Rocky Mount, where this would be allowed, for skill-based gaming.
So, as I noted, there are existing, internet cafes that are operating. Nearly all of them, were granted a certificate of occupancy for something other than the activity that's occurring at those locations. Enforcing the land development code, with trying to shut those places down without having the use defined and permitted within certain locations in the city puts us in a disadvantaged position.
Thank you. Councilman Jawarswal.
So too, I just got a question to ask. Can you clarify that it's pretty much, it still won't be closed to, I guess, neighborhoods, like certain schools? Can you pretty much talk about that, like public parks, stuff that would be not able to go around, if you can?
Yes, yes, sir. The skill-based gaming internet cafe land use would be permitted in the B2 and B5 districts, which are commercial zoning districts in Rocky Mount. And one of the conditions that the operations would have to meet is separation from other uses. Specifically, they need to be at least 500 feet from any existing residence, school, church, or public park.
And just, I don't recognize you, but just to be clear, I think there's a little confusion out here. What we're doing here tonight, or what you're proposing that we do tonight, is define an internet cafe, or what was previously known as the sweepstakes, into our different zoning ordinances. And those establishments that currently exist will be able to continue in their operation, assuming they received a certificate of occupancy prior to and had indicated that this is their line of business. Businesses that have not done it will have to reapply for CCO. And so a condition in which that would have existed, if I leased a spot on a strip center somewhere, and I said I was a furniture store, and I converted to a game of skill, I suppose, or internet cafe, we're calling it, that would require the issuance of a new CO. The enforcement component of that would require the city of Rocky Mount and its annual inspection to be able to identify that. The zoning finds anybody in a sweepstakes establishment or an internet cafe is having greater than 2 games of skill located within that facility. That's really what we're talking about. So we're not making a declaration whether this is legal, whether this is appropriate or inappropriate. We're just saying, based on our zoning ordinances, it fits into a particular category, and that category then defines where these things can be located. That,
Yes.
perhaps an oversimplification, but that I think hopefully clears that up for folks. And I'll recognize you, Councilman Harris, and I'll recognize you, Councilman Knight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the public's sake, and for my personal information, who determines whether an establishment is a game of chance or skill based?
Yes, sir. That is left to law enforcement, particularly across North Carolina. I do believe that is done by ALE.
I think you're correct, but I just wanted the public to know, we do not make that decision. Second question, and I go for this in committee of the whole. You have identified a number of existing sweepstake places. But the city has, to my knowledge, no knowledge of how many convenience stores within the city limits operate these skill-based machines. Is that correct?
At this particular moment, I don't have an exact number. The city conducts annual inspections of non-residential occupied buildings. And upon those inspections, if it's determined that there is a permitted use that's operating more than 2 games of skill, then they will be required to apply for a certificate of occupancy as a skill-based gaming location and meet these proposed conditions. In the event that they don't, they would need to remove those games.
But if I operate such an establishment and the fire department came by in February, and I might think, well, they're gonna be coming back next year, January, February. Could they not have more than 2 games or machines? All I'm concerned is how quickly are we gonna be able to go to all of these establishments and make sure that they understand what the new regulation is and how they can stay within the new code and the.
Yes, sir, I understand. We have plans to notify those that we are aware of immediately of the new regulations. And again, we perform those annual inspections and, with the staffing levels that, we have, the resources, the annual is realistically the cadence, the schedule that, we'll be able to determine whether these places are offering, the games and are in compliance with our land development code.
But the number of convenience stores is the big question mark in mine. And that's the main concern.
Yeah, so within the next 12 months, staff will have been in all of those locations. And again, if we find that they're out of compliance, then they'll be made to come into compliance.
That's all.
Thank you. Councilman Knight.
I just want to say, I'm gonna vote for it, but at your own risk, whoever listening, whoever on. You open up one in Edgecombe County, the sheriff, as he said, has the authority to shut them down. The complaints are coming from citizens, So I'm just letting you know, getting your heads up. We're gonna approve it at your own risk. I don't know what Sheriff Stone will do in Nash County, when the edge comes, it will be shut down. Not me saying it, it's the sheriff of Edgecombe County. That's why I'm just saying, we allowing this as a permitted use. And it seems like we setting people up. I know we have to try to regulate it, but we don't. Anyway.
We're not an enforcement agency.
Exactly, but John is.
Councilman Jabbar Swamp, and I'd like to public comment.
Joseph, they do have, I guess for the public to know what, 60 days to get a new, CO.
Yes, sir.
So voted on passed tonight, do everybody have to come back and get a new CO, or is it just the ones that are not in compliance?
Yes, sir. Presently, there are 6 locations that were granted a certificate of occupancy for internet cafe during a period in the past when that was a permitted use. This is not the first time internet cafe has been listed within the land development code. But other than those locations, yes, everyone found to be operating an internet cafe would need to apply for a new certificate of occupancy.
Thank you. This time I'd like to invite any member of the public who is here to speak on the text amendment, chapter 1, section 102, terms and uses defined, chapter 5, section 503, table 5.2, general use table. And the purpose is to add internet cafe, parenthetically, sweepstakes establishment as a permitted use with specific requirements to ensure harmony with other environments. Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak? You've already spoken, sir, correct?
Okay, I can add some light to the laws if you like.
We'll certainly add, we'll allow you to come speak. 3 minutes, and anybody else who wishes to speak, you'll queue up, that'd be great.
So in the proposal that I gave the city manager, our North Carolina opinion letter was in there, and it does state that the state of North Carolina regulated machines, not skills-based games or sweepstakes. The difference between skills-based games is there's a pattern, a component where you choose a pattern, and it's not an impressive skill, but they call it a skill nonetheless. Sweepstakes, there's no purchase required. If you go back to the 1980s when McDonald's did the Monopoly game, you had to go in and make a purchase. The federal government determined that that was gambling. So McDonald's had to switch the mode in which they issued the Monopoly tickets. One of our attorneys out of Florida, his name is Matt Mack at Winter Park, was on that case. What they had to do was switch to a sweepstakes base where there's no purchase required. Anyone can walk in and say, I want a Monopoly ticket and get one. If they wanted to then enter in for more entries, they could make a purchase for a soda or a fry, and they would get that ticket and that would enter them in for more entries. So that's really the sweepstakes. Online, that's what we do is the sweepstakes. We have 2 digital wallets. Someone signs in, they get free tokens to play, and if they want to make a purchase for more tokens, they're rewarded that when they make the purchase. To do that legally here, we would be more than happy to sit down and create how we could function sweepstakes. And that's why I pointed out our attorney here in North Carolina, Keith, would be willing to sit down and say, this is what we have to do to function the sweepstakes. And I also said that you guys could operate as a subcontractor for the games. Well, we would have to get the games through you. You could say these are sweepstakes. You could say these are skills-based. That will put you as the person arbiter of the games itself so that you would understand how that works. But really what it boils down to in the state of North Carolina is the regulation of the machines.
Thank you. And please state your name for the record.
Sean Wren.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Is there any other member of the public who wishes to speak on this particular matter? Yes, ma'am.
I speak on Ward 3, Ward 1, Ward 2, and Ward 4. The machines are in those wards right now. You go to the store, woman in there with a baby, sent to the machine, puffing up cigarette. Kids in the car. You got a high drug rate in Rockland. High. It had not put anything in place to solve it. Homeless is readily ramping in Rocky Mount. Have not put anything in place to solve it. And you're gonna bring out a slot machine? I told you, you don't come where we don't live where we live. You don't come where we come. Ride them 4 wheels. You'll see the children in the car while mama's sitting on the slot machine with the baby in her lap. This is reality. This is real. This is how it is in Rocky Mount. I don't care how much you get together with whomever you may get together with. It's real. This is real in Rocky Mount. We have 3 things, and you bring in gambling, and we got drugs and homeless, and then you bring in gambling? Really? Come on. Come on now. It's enough. Y'all give us anything. Y'all think we'll take anything? No. Come on. That ride, go over there, Farley Road, cross from the Dollar Tree. Children in the car, mom in the store with a cigarette, puffing, and the children are in the car. This is reality. This is real. This is in Ward 4. Come on. Real.
If you would, please state your name for the record, just to.
Citizen.
Yeah. Okay. Any other member of the public who wishes to speak on this particular matter?
Veronica Jennings. I just want to ask a question because in the backup material, it says here that half of the current operating gaming establishments, and that's 24, according to this report, would not be permitted if you pass this. So I'm trying to understand, are we tightening it? Are we allowing more? What are we doing?
I can take a stab at that. We are not trying to make a determination whether this is legal or not. We know that they exist within the city of Rocky Mount, and we are attempting to put it within our zoning ordinances to be able to determine where these institutions can be located. Enforcement is up to the state of North Carolina, and ultimately to the district attorney in our particular area for enforcement. So, what we're trying to do is determine where, if anywhere, in the city of Rocky Mount, these places can be zoned or allowed by virtue of our zone. Is there any other member of the public who wishes to speak on this particular matter? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public portion of this. See, Councilman Blackwell, you'd like to speak. Councilman Robertson, you still care to address? I'll recognize you after Councilman Blackwell.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Bocook, for the presentation. And just to address, and Ms. Townsend, if you don't mind, I want to address what you just stated. I'm going to support this effort, not because we're bringing it, just because what you stated is already here. And the ordinance also says that these activities will not be allowed in historic communities and redevelopment communities. You know what a redevelopment community is? That's a neighborhood that has been identified as having a very high rate of poverty, a level of standard of affordable housing, and that has a challenge in housing stock availability, and it needs to be improved. This ordinance would say those businesses are not allowed in that neighborhood. It restricts the definition of what is legal, and it restricts them to only commercial corridors that already prove that they have high levels of traffic. Then it defines that you must, if you have these units, there have to be at least 2. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It has to be at least 2. And that you can't just be a store with 2 machines. If you have the machines, you got to declare yourself a sweepstakes cafe.
Not a front of more than.
More than 2, okay. But what it does do is it begins to put some guardrails around what the business is right now that's completely unregulated. It's completely unregulated as it is. And now, whether or not our priority in policing is to shut it down or keep it open, we're hearing from the counties that they're waiting for us to move so they can do something. The other thing that we do have the capability to do is enforce fines and fees. And I just wanted Joseph to tell us again, we heard it in a different way, but I think the public needs to hear, and especially the owners of these facilities, what you're gonna pay if you don't do it right.
Yes, sir. So this land use would be subject to enforcement as any other land use permitted or unpermitted in Rocky Mount. The provision is that the first offense of a development code regulation is $100. Each day is considered a separate offense with increasing potential for increasing fee amounts to $250 for a second offense and $500 for each offense thereafter for a particular location.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something?
Councilman, Robertson, recognize him.
Is public comments closed?
I'm sorry,
Is the comments closed?
comments are closed.
Oh, okay, now I'm sorry.
Yes, I think, Councilman Blackwell addressed, I just wanted to make sure that Ms. Townsend's concerns were addressed, and I think put clarity on it.
Councilman Knight.
Some of those stores already have more than two. And I've seen people that frequently go in there. And so you see what you see. You may not see me, but I see what you see.
I think.
I've been saying it for 58 years. Going down in the hood, I see what you see, and so do they see what you see. And so my struggle here, because, you know, I heard from some sheriffs, and I know we're not voting on it guarantees, you know, I just think it's, if we give the okay, and I want to ask you, Joseph, Nashville and Tarboro and Greenville, do they have this in their permitted use? And that would help me decide on how to vote this. And again, at your own risk.
Sir,
I mean, you just tell me yes or no.
yes, Greenville, Wilson, the town of Nashville. Those communities were among those that we surveyed in developing our ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Councilman T.J. Walker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And although I know that we are not voting on enforcement tonight, this does open the door for a form of enforcement. And my hope is that as we move forward as a council, we place the same attention and foresight into the same accountability and enforcement for blight, for abandoned homes, tax foreclosures that are within those communities that Ms. Townsend as well. So I know this, so thank you, man, for clarifying that, but I know what this ordinance means and what it does. And it opens up the door for enforcement. So in that vein, I just pray that when we get to a place financially, Mr. Manager and Council, that we have the same intentionality for policies and ordinances that we already have in place that we are not enforcing. Thank you.
Okay, yes, Councilman Knight.
Councilman Knight called the question.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh, you called the question? Okay. I'm looking for, actually, I need a motion in a second to adopt the ordinance.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Daughtridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Blackwell. Need for discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. No. Motion carries. Item 11 is public hearing, is for proposed substantial amendments to the 2018-2020 annual action plans. Amendments describe how the city intends to repurpose $201,703,70 in federal home CHDO funds to down payment assistance projects to facilitate home ownership for low and moderate income households. Sure. Right here to speak to that. Okay, yes. Sorry, I should know that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I stand before you tonight. We're required to hold a public hearing for the proposed substantial amendments for program years 2018, 2019, and 2020. Rocky Mount is proposing to amend the annual action plan for 2018, 19, and 20 to reallocate those home funds from Community Housing Development Organization, CHODO, set-asides, and fund the down payment assistance program for low to moderate income families. The next steps in the process would involve it's a 30-day public comment period from now through May 5th. A public hearing tonight. It will also be presented at the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners meeting on May 4th. On May 11th is anticipated date for the city council meeting to review and approve the submission of the plan to HUD. And then the plan would be submitted to HUD on May 14th. And the program year would begin July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027.
So we'll take comments tonight from the public, and then people have 30 days to submit written comments as well.
Yes, sir.
All right, any questions? Yes, sir, Councilman Harris.
Thank you, Ms. McGee. Just for the public, these are federal funds, correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Federal funds, no general funds associated.
Thank you.
Okay, this time I'll open the floor up to any member of the public who wishes to speak on the amendments for 2018, 2019, 2020, the annual action plans on the home CHODO funds. Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak to that? Yes. I know you are, but if you please state your name for the record, that'd be helpful.
My name is Richard Petway. I live at 100 East Thomas Street.
Thank you.
And for these public funds, this housing, who get to select the people that get selected to get these loans, and how do they go by doing it? Most people do not know anything about these loans. That's because they either don't read, don't have the information, or they can't get the information. And when they do get information, they come up here and fill out the application, all the money gone. And that's even when they try, that small people, especially these college kids that getting out of college want to get a home. Especially these other people that got these low income jobs, the people that working at McDonald's can't even afford to get there. And they got families, how are they gonna get there? We need some kind of clarification or some kind of effort to get, let the people know that these loans are out there, not just for the higher up that can afford it and say they ain't got it, but for those that are working at these low job hard at McDonald's, all of these people that, and do have no kind of business on Edgecombe side for these people to get a job to be able to afford to get these loans because they make the specification on it.
That's a great question. Ms. McGee, if you would answer that, I think that'd be helpful for Mr. Betway as well as everybody else.
Yes, so the city's down payment assistance program is administered by Rocky Mount Housing Authority. We will have a down payment assistance lenders training on April 23rd, which is a Thursday at 10 a.m. here in the council chamber. At that time, this session is open to the public. It's targeted towards lenders, also realtors and home builders, but the public can also participate and learn more about the city's down payment program. The program is based off of, you would actually apply to a lender and you would get an approval letter. You would also submit an application as well to the Rocky Mount Housing Authority. And so we'll have information about this program. But if you'd like additional information, feel free to call my office at 972-1100. But it does require you to go through a bank or a credit union, some type of lending institution. And so we've invited lenders to be a part of that training on that day.
So just for my own edification and understanding, so I go through the banking process. The banking process says I can afford a home or the payment on a home, provided I can make the down payment of X, whatever that works out to be. That's when I make application to the housing authority. Is that correct?
Correct. An application would be made to the housing authority. You would also be required to participate or attend the 8-hour home buyer class that the housing authority offers. And they are actually offering one this upcoming weekend. You do have to register to participate. But if you miss this opportunity in April, they offer the home buyer education classes bi-monthly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other member of the public who wishes to speak on this particular matter?
I have a question.
Yes, sir, Councilman Blackwell.
Ms. McGee, who is eligible for these loans, and is down payment assistance variable, or is it fixed as far as the loan is concerned?
So for its eligibility for the down payment assistance program that's funded solely through HUD funds, CDBG, and home program funds, you have to meet the income qualifications. That would mean that your income would have to be at less than 80% of the area median income. And so, of course, we would have to collect information to make that determination for its eligibility. It is a deferred forgivable loan in the amount of, meaning that if you receive 40,000 in down payment assistance, that's a 10-year loan. If it's more than 40,000, so 40 to 50,000, it's a 15-year loan. And so you can live anywhere in the city and you can receive up to $40,000 in down payment assistance. If you live in one of the targeted areas in the city, then it's an additional bonus incentive you receive, and then it's $50,000 total. So extra 10,000 if you live in one of the targeted areas in our city.
So the total amount is 200,000 plus.
Right, so that provides an opportunity for at least 4 home buyers.
So we're talking 4 people
Yes,
in all of Rocky Mount.
that could potentially
targeted
benefit.
communities. Going to Mr. Petway's point, is that you gotta know that it's available, then you gotta know what to do,
Absolutely.
then you gotta get approved, and if you are approved, you might not have, but.
Yes, and I also would like to just say that we already have a down payment assistance program with some funding, and roughly we still have available $500,000. So that would provide assistance to at least 10 homeowners right
So
now.
there's some hope, but
Yes,
you better hurry and get in line.
yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes, I'll ask Councilman Tito.
I would just recommend for any member of the public that may be interested in this, and just schedule time to meet with Ms. Cornelia and her staff, and then that way they can go over all the details and let you know what you could potentially be eligible for.
Councilman Tito Walker.
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. McGee, thank you so much for sharing. And I know this, actual allocation is slim pickings, as Councilman Black, just alluded to. But are we having conversations with agencies like Building Shalom and others that are already doing this work that through these? Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Is there any other member of the public who wishes to speak on the matter? Specifically, it's to address the Home Shodo allocation of funds, $200,000. All right, seeing none presenting themselves, I'll close the public comment period, and we'll move on to item number 12, which is public hearing for the 2026 annual action plan for the Down East Home Consortium. And I'm assuming, Ms. McGee, you're speaking to that as well, so I won't steal your thunder.
Thank you again. I stand before you this evening to hold public hearing regarding the 2026 annual action plan. What I'd like to do, I'm going to try to go through this as fairly as quickly as possible. So it's basically, tonight's agenda would involve providing an overview of our 2026 annual action plan, review the community priorities identified in the 2024-2026 consolidated plan, discuss the estimated resources to be made available during this upcoming fiscal year 2026-2027, and lastly, summarize the proposed projects to be undertaken utilizing community development, block grant funds, and home funds. So what is the annual action plan? The annual action plan is a one-year strategy that outlines how city funds or City of Rocky Mount will use CDBG and home funds to support local priorities. The fiscal year, of course, would run from July 1, 2026 through June 30th, 2027. And we would be using goals and priorities established with the recent 3-year annual action plan for 2026. This annual action plan would describe how CDBG and home funds would be distributed and how it would benefit low to moderate income families. The priority needs are increase access and improve quality of affordable housing, eliminate slum and blight, improve public facilities and infrastructure, expand public services, economic development, and planning and administration. The City of Rocky Mount is an entitlement city, and we receive CDBG funds as being an entitlement city recipient. In addition, Down East Home Consortium receives home funding as a participating jurisdiction, and the City of Rocky Mount serves as the lead entity for the Down East Home Consortium. The city receives these funds through an annual allocation from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, also known as HUD. These grants are non-competitive funds awarded from HUD based on using a formula which considers the community size, demographics, and housing characteristics. The allocations that you see before you are the allocations that we currently receive. We just most recently this weekend received a letter that outlines the exact allocation amount. What you see before you is roughly $501,884. That allocation is increasing slightly by $15,000. That's notated there. These funds would be used, the CDBG funds would be used for the following proposed projects: single-family housing rehabilitation, homebuyer assistance, Section 108 loan repayment, that involves the Douglas Block Revitalization Project loan that was done back in 2008 and would be satisfied after 2028, which is in a few years. Public services and planning administration. Proposed budget, as you can see, we're required by HUD to set aside 20% of the funds, CDBG funds, towards planning and administration. There's a Section 108 loan payment. There's also an additional set aside for public services. 15% has to be set aside. And these are set asides that the federal government requires to set aside. In addition, there's funding that's set aside, proposed set aside for homeowner rehabilitation that would assist up to 8 families. Rehab delivery, which would support the rehabilitation effort for doing the inspections, preparing the bid write-ups. And then lastly, funding for homebuyer assistance. So as you see, those amounts are the anticipated amounts are stated there. The 2026 home budget, as I shared just a minute ago, the City of Rocky Mount serves as the lead entity for the Down East Home Consortium, which is comprised of 9 jurisdictions in Nash and Edgecombe County. The Down East Home Consortium allocates funding for the following activities, and those activities include There's also a set aside that HUD requires with the home program of 10%, which is roughly 35,880. Rocky Mount, the city of Rocky Mount's part from the home funding would roughly be $168,635. There's a 15% total set aside that we're required to set aside for our CHOTO, certified CHOTO, which is the Southeastern North Carolina Community Development Corporation. 53,821. And then Edgecombe County and the jurisdictions in Edgecombe County, as you can see, would be 71,759. Whereas the three participating jurisdictions in Nash County would include Middlesex, Spring Hope, and Whitakers, with roughly about 14,353. And then lastly, the town of Sharpsburg. The next steps in the process, this would remain on public display and public comment period where people would have an opportunity, the public would have the opportunity to submit written comments or to comment this evening. On May 6th, we will do a presentation during the Edgecombe County Commissioners meeting. May 11th, we anticipate coming back and presenting this before the council for approval and submission to HUD. And then it should be submitted by May 14th.
Thank you. Is there any member of the public who wishes to come forward and speak on the 2026 fiscal year 2026 annual action plan for the Down East Home Consortium? Floor is now open. I invite any member of the public who wishes to speak on the fiscal year 2026 annual action plan for the Down East Home Consortium plan. Please come forward. Not seeing anybody, I'll close the public comment portion right now. There's actually, it's gonna come before us in May. Consider. Item number 13, that's right, I hear you. Item 13 is consideration of the amendment to revise fiscal year 2025 and 2026. The annual operating budget for revisions to account for changes in revenue, to increasing the total appropriations by $610,037 across the gas and sewer funds. The increases in appropriations reflect the net budget impact of adjustments to utility rates adopted by the City Council March 30th, 2026, and effective April 1, 2026. This time I'll receive a motion to adopt the budget amendment. Motion made by Councilman Dodger. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Blackwell. Is there a need for discussion?
Yes.
Okay, Councilman Robertson, I'll recognize you.
I think, had some questions and I wanted to see if Ms. Spivey, I think you said I can ask her some of the questions, so she would come on. We have a history of overestimating, our revenue, and that was a big concern of the LGC. It's been a big concern of mine, so I saw that you're estimating that we're gonna receive 2.2. I got the, letter from Ken Hanna, and I was made aware that you signed it. So I just want to make sure that you're co-signing that, and how do you quantify that we will be receiving 2.2 million and over 2.2 million in revenue with this like this? How are you quantifying that?
Well, please answer, but I'll remind you that this is for $610,000, the appropriations for the fiscal year 2025-2026 annual operating.
Yeah, I understand that, but it's due to the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Manager, that you're estimating that we're gonna receive over 2.2 million to get to this number. Is that correct? 2.2 million?
We'll let Ms. Spivey answer. She's prepared to answer the finance question, but this is a direct impact from the recent rate adjustments.
Got you.
Right, and so it's the rate adjustment times the number of accounts we have, times our percentage of coherent, normal percentage of completion of collection. Yes, so we said we are, backing it out to where Ms. Hall has identified the percentage of collections that we would get on these type of accounts. So, so that's where that calculation
And thank you, Mr. Manager, for sending the email. I didn't get a chance to read it because I just received it when I got here, but received it, sending an email with the collection information. So if you can help me, what is our current collection rate? I know as you just raised it on April the first, so we don't have any data on what going forward our collection rate, or what is the current collection rate that Ms. Hall gave you?
The percentage that, that she provided us is 98%, 92%.
92%.
Based on these most recent months. But it's normally, once we, have time, the further out we get, we collect some more. So it ranges around 96% in normally. And right now we're at 94.
So you're basing the 2.2 at 92% collection rate?
That's the percentage that we were using is 94%.
94%.
To be more conservative.
So with the 15% increase, you think we're gonna go up 2% in our collection rate? Because one of the things that I'm very concerned about is overestimating revenue. And I think you spoke on that to the LGC as well, that it won't be happening anymore, and we're on a tight leash with the LGC. They're watching everything we do. So to approve that we're gonna receive that type of revenue based on our collection rates current, and you're saying with a 15% increase, you're expecting us to jump 2% more in collections.
No, Councilman Robertson, that's not what she stated.
What
What she
is-
stated is that right now, we're currently going at around a 94% collection rate. What we anticipate being is 98% once we have reconciled everything and we continue for the next several months of collection.
Okay, so you-
I think what you're saying is that you're 92% of the current month and you give it a 90-day period of time and it climbs closer to 98%.
That is
If you're
correct.
using 94% as a projection to come up with $610,000 that we're asking for reclassification.
That's correct, but also too, maybe put your concerns at ease is for each of these, for these months that are in fiscal 26 that we're in now, all of these funds are going towards the reserve. So we're not increasing any expenditures. If you see each one of these is either going, it's either going towards reducing a revenue that we now believe is overstated, or it's going towards rebuilding the reserves in those accounts. And depending on if you flip through the actual entries, depending on which type of account we're using, it's doing that. It's not increasing expenditures at all. So the intent of this agenda item is to illustrate that the increases for this fiscal year are going towards building reserve or taking care of some of those situations where we probably did overestimate the revenues.
And when she's saying reserve, she's saying basically fund balance. So it's
Fund
going
balance.
balance.
Adding to fund balance.
Yeah, but my question and my concern is basically on a 2.2. You said that is based on a 98%, is that what you said, collection? Because I heard 92, so it's. Help me understand what collection rate.
Councilman, look, I mean, I've got a
Because,
motion in a second. You're asking about 2.2 and a projection into the forward in the next year.
no, it's not,
which is a-
it's that projection for
Which is a
June.
more appropriate question for budgets. And I'm absolutely 100% where you're tracking, and I want to know all these answers too. But I'm not sure how that,
Let me explain how it helps.
please, if you
Because-
break it down in a short way,
Yeah,
that
let me
would be
break it
very
down.
helpful.
We have historically overestimated our revenue. That has been said a numerous amount of times. We're saying, and you help me if I'm incorrect, that by June, are you saying by June, because of the utility hike, the 15%, how much are we gonna collect by June?
We, the additional changes are the 1.6 million. And, But that goes towards other things. So the change in the operating budget is to increase the operating budget by 610,000.
Okay, and that's based on how much this utility hike, how much are you expecting to collect by June?
She is estimated 94%, right?
No,
She did.
no, I'm saying how much in dollars are we expected to collect by, let me pull this up and look at it, because this is important, Mayor, because we was told at the meeting about us overestimating our revenue.
Councilman, I absolutely agree. It's
Okay.
100% important. I don't know how it's germane to the $610,000 appropriation increase that we're talking about in terms of a budget amendment. We got a motion and a second, and I want to hear all the answers and the collection rate. All those things are incredibly important, but we've had our staff say, look, we anticipate 92% collection based on the last 3 months. If you extend that out 90 days into the future, that rate has been 96%, and we expect it to get to 98%. In order for her to come up with $610,000, she is conservatively estimating 94%. Of which, I feel like all the questions have been answered. So what I'm asking is, how is the $2 million conversation helpful in getting us to where we
So
are?
we're saying the gas, we're estimated to collect $304,000, is that correct? $304,000 in gas, we're looking to collect between now and June 1st,
June 30th.
June 30th? Okay, so we're in the shoulder months now, when gas is not being used as much. So the $304,000 that we expect to collect now, how are you quantifying that?
The rate increase times the number of accounts times the 94%.
And just let me just be clear, the 94% is a conservative estimate. We feel strongly that we'll be 97 or 98%. So the 94% is very conservative. This is not increasing our expenditures at all. This is just revenue received. So if we don't receive that revenue, we'll present another budget amendment that recognizes that revenue. The point is that when the LGC was focusing and mentioned stuff about over projections for revenue, that was based on us using that to balance the budget because we had expenditures. That is not the case here. This is the case where we're just trying to recognize the additional revenue and putting it back to our reserves.
Okay. Oh, let me just finish. So historically, at 304,000 in gas, and we're projected that we will receive, right? Because you said that's based on the collection rate. Is that based on these months? Historically, during these months, we received a certain amount of money that's close to this 304,000 plus a 15% increase. Like, what have we historically received during these shoulder months in gas collection?
It's based on the collection rate, which you just stated, the accounts that we have, based on the time period that we currently have.
Yeah.
It's based conservatively on 94%.
And what have we historically received during these shoulder months, during these months that you're projecting that we're gonna receive $304,000?
I don't have the dollar amount here, but the percentage is usually higher than 94%. That's why we're being conservative on our estimate.
Yeah.
So the percentage rate is typically in the 97, 96 range, but we're being conservative saying 94.
Dollar amount, I understand the percentage, but dollar amount during these shoulder months, what have we historically received during this period of time? Because what was said too was that we have gone for 1 year where we had reduced income and revenue, and then the next year we even raised it higher. So I need to know historically, what have we received during these shoulder months? And what have we received now? When I say shoulder months, these are the months that historically people are not using gas during the cold months. So we're saying we're receiving 304,000. Historically, what have we received during those months?
Councilman Robertson, I don't have the historical data in the packet today.
Okay.
What we're presenting.
So I'm gonna let it go, but if you co-sign them, they came to us from Ken, you looked at it, you're putting your name, your credentials, that co-signed it, and you're saying this is the amount of money that we're gonna receive.
The best,
based on on the collection
again,
rates.
the best estimate, yes.
The best
I-
estimate.
I am saying that, but also what I'm saying is this agenda item is setting those additional funds aside to rebuild fund balance. There's no additional expenditures that are being made. It's to offset some of those revenues that we do believe were overestimated. And so that's the purpose of it, and we will, I believe, based on the information, I have today, that this is a good number. I will also be tracking this number. So, and being able, to, provide, what our, how well we're meeting our expectation.
Appreciate it.
Councilman Knight, I recognize you.
Yes, real quick, and you stated earlier in our meeting that these numbers are being vetted and they're not being overestimated. And historically, normally we collect 96 to 97% taxes and 98% utilities. We collect in arrears, and so by June, we would have collected February through May. So at this point, I would like you to call the question, please.
All right, did you call the question? Yeah. Question's been called. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, like sign. All right, item 14 is consideration of personal pay classification plan amendment as follows. And I want everybody to know and to understand that we've had extensive conversation on this matter. This request is both budget and cash flow neutral. In other words, what that means is an FTE in another department, it is unfilled, and the rate of pay is consistent with what we're currently spending. So this is budget and cash flow neutral. Reclassification is listed below. The range is consistent with 122 with the reclassified range. This time I'll receive a motion to adopt the resolution.
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Knight. Is there a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Blackwell. Is there a need for discussion?
Yes.
Councilman Robertson, I'll recognize you.
Okay. Everything that I heard from the LGC, sitting there, they put us on a short leave. And they, if we have one hiccup, then we are risk of getting taken over. They taking our person. So out of respect for them, I would like to, table this and get approval from the LGC before we vote on this.
Okay, there's a table. Is there a second for the table? There is no second, so I've got a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, like sign. Yes, sir, Councilman. The motion passes, by the way. You have a comment?
I did. I wanted to, I had, as we discussed earlier, heartburn about this at first, but hearing from our manager in clarity around this, Mr. Manager, if you could just to the public, speak to operationally how this helps us not to be able to find ourselves in the pitch that we found ourselves in before.
Yeah, the goal is to find someone who's qualified and has experience in local government budget and strategy to make sure that moving forward with the city is going through budget processes that our numbers are accurate based on the best information that we have available. As the mayor pointed out, this is not creating a net new position. It is reclassifying a position that we already currently have. And with regard to our marketing communication director, the assistant city manager that I hired several months ago has been doing dual roles and will continue to do roles as a part of our restructure. So in essence, the assistant city manager has been the communication director for the last several months and understands that that's going to be a permanent role for him. So you have a savings in that position as well.
Thank you.
Councilman Knight, I'll recognize you then. Councilman Forrest Walker.
Before you get to benediction, I said the LGC must have two faces. Because they telling the manager, Cheryl, and your staff, and at least 5 or 6 of us hearing something different. But they must have two faces. And you explained to us in the back, in the committee, the whole purpose behind this in the LGC, which some said the LGC wouldn't take the plan. Ms. Kennedy would, recommend the plan, but they accepted the plan April 1st. And so, I just want to say, Mr. Manager, staff, keep doing what you do. We heard what Reverend Henderson said. You know, let's keep the faith and just, believe we're gonna get out of this, and we are. And so, again, Elton, and your team, thank you. Thank you for doing what's hard to do, but you're doing the right thing. Thank you.
Okay, that moves on to, Councilman Javaris Walker, recognize you.
TJ asked a question, the manager already answered.
I'm gonna move on to item 15, which is consideration of resolution amending the administrative policy number Roman numeral 9.1 entitled Water Sewer Extensions and Service Connections to clarify and streamline terms of service for outside retail customers. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Councilman Knight, is there a second?
Second.
Second made by somebody, it's illustrated. Councilman Blackwell, is there any discussion on that matter?
I can get up. I think I can get up.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries, meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you. Not back in this one now.
That's right. They gotta get some machine.
Oh, yeah.
Right up out here. Someone got four.